Hi, I'm Nina. In this video, we're going to talk about the guides for the Color Swatches stamp set and the matching dies. You'll find this guide included in our Color Swatches Combo that includes both the stamp and the die. You'll also find them in our Swatch Stamping Kit, which is designed for new stampers. If all you need is this 2x3 swatch stamp set, we actually have the basic stamping kit to get you started. Instead of a full-size VersaFine ink pad, you'll have a small cube of this waterproof ink for water media and a teardrop pad of Memento black ink, which is great for Copics and other alcohol markers. And the stamping block included is perfect for the swatch stamp set. Let's go through the guide. Let's start with the recommended stamp mounts. We've included this Fiskars stamping block set in our swatch stamping kit, and you probably have seen them multiple times in our sneak peek videos. As for the MISTI tool, we recommend the original size MISTI because you can use paper size up to 6.5 by 8.5 with it, which is great for stamping bigger charts. But actually, all the stamps included in the Color Swatches stamp set will fit in a mini MISTI, which is much easier to handle and take it with you on the go, except the 2-color mixing chart here. But you can trim 1 or 2 swatches off this stamp to make it fit in the mini MISTI. So you don't have to purchase an extra original MISTI if the mini MISTI is what you have. You'll get 99% of the job done. And here's a guide to the stamp set that you probably have seen a million times by now. I put it on there as a quick reminder of what things the swatches can do. Remember that you can use all the grids here for swatches, including the 2-color mixing chart stamp. The most helpful information is the size list of the grids here. The numbers in the parentheses indicate how the grid is constructed. The first number is for rows, and the second number is for columns. Take the 8-color grids for example. You'll have the sizes for both 2 rows of 4 swatches and 4 rows of 2 swatches. I mentioned that you will find recommended paper size on the back of this guide. I meant the Spacer A column right here. Following these sizes will give you a 3/16 inch border around your charts. Let me cover the last 2 columns for now, because if you have our Color Swatches matching die, you probably won't need to use those 2 columns. To use this guide, you will first find the grid for the colors you are swatching in the first column. Then choose how your grid will be constructed in the second column. 2 rows of 4 swatches for 8 colors, or 4 rows of 2 swatches for 8 colors. The third column shows you the grid size, which is the same as listed on the other side. You will use this to calculate your border. In the fourth column, you will find the recommended matching dies to use to quickly construct your charts. Up here, you can see that we have marked each die with a letter and listed their names on the right. Die A, B, and C are spacers. We'll talk about them later. We have die D to cut out 8 individual swatches from the 24 swatch grid. Die E to cut out a row of 4 swatches. Die F to cut out a column of 6 swatches or the column of 10 squares. Die G to cut out the full 24 swatch grid. Die H to cut out the 2-color mixing chart, which is also great for 10-color swatches with 2 diluted versions. Die I will cut out a single of this swatch with diluted versions, and I call it the single gradation swatch. Die J is for cutting out the mass tone, and die K is for cutting out the label info. You can use multiples of these die cuts to construct charts for colors in between and beyond. Take this 18-color airtight palette for example. We carry this in our store. I will use 2 of the 4 swatches, 2 single swatches, and then 1 more of the 4 swatches on each end to assemble the layout of this palette. I can easily swatch out a color if I decide to change my palette along the way, either the color or the order, to make it work better for me. Our matching dies are designed to have a border that's half the width of the space among the grids on the stamps, so that when you use them to construct a bigger chart, you will have a uniform spacing across your chart. Now let's talk about the spacers. These are the most helpful if you have a MISTI and want to have a bigger border than what the matching dies give you. Spacer A and C will give you a 3/16 an inch border, and spacer B will give you about half an inch on one side and 3/16 an inch on the other. You can use the spacers separately or together to help you stamp your chart. Take 72 colors for example. The easiest way would be to use 3 of the 24 swatch grid to construct this chart. Or you can trim your paper to 5.5 by 7.75 and use spacer A to have a 3/16 inch border around your chart. Or you can use a piece of 6 by 9 paper, which is a common size for watercolor paper. According to our diagram D5, I will need to use spacer B for this. Put the paper and the die cut from spacer B in your MISTI, this is original size, against the top left corner. Lay down your 24 swatch grid stamp so that it is against spacer B in the top left corner. Pick it up with the lid, ink it up, and stamp. I usually will go ahead and stamp a few more for future uses. Now clean your stamp, make sure it's dry, and then line it up with the stamped image. It may take you a few tries to get the correct spacing, so you might want to practice on scrap paper first. And here are my charts, all ready to be swatched. Thank you for joining me today. If you find this video helpful, give me a thumbs up. If you have more questions, leave it in the comment below. If you want to learn more about my die cutting and stamping tips, follow us on YouTube. I'll see you again soon.